Good afternoon, everybody. This is Anthony with the Orange County Association of Realtors. Welcome to our class today, Beyond the Basics, Becoming the Market Expert with using OCFaststats. Just a quick introduction. Again, my name is Anthony. I work here at the Orange County Association of Realtors. Been here now for almost 15 years. Started off in the MLS department, but I am now part of our member outreach program. The outreach program is designed to give you various training on your tools and products. I train not just on MLS, how to run searches, how to modify listings, create CMAs, all those fun things, but I also train on zip forms, the tablet device, is using your 21st century technology for your real estate business to help you go what I like to call going paperless in your business. Today, what we're going to go over is OCFaststats. Now, you may ask yourself, well, what is OCFaststats? Well, OCFaststats is an OCAR member benefit that provides you MLS statistical data that you can use to show the market realities in your business. Basically, OCFaststats uses MLS data only. It doesn't use any other third-party information like estimated tax information like Zillow's and some of the other real financial experts out there. This is just basically 100% pure MLS data. This is one of the many reasons why we here at the board, as well as MLS, stress the importance of accurate data in the MLS, because you guys need to show the market realities, not just with the CMA, but with statistical information. Basically, you are just going to need to become the market expert, and I'm just going to go over how you could do that. Just really quickly, just OCFaststats, what it'll do, it'll actually benefit you in several ways. Elevating your online presence. You can increase your credibility as a real estate agent, as a market expert. You'll have better client interactions. We'll kind of discuss that a little bit. Also, in interacting with your clients, you also get to at least manage some of their expectations. And of course, ultimately, you're going to remove anxiety and uncertainty about the business. You get to actually manage all that. How we elevate your online presence, the big thing that we at OCAR want you to do is distribute this information out. Distribute. Put it on your social media, put it on your website, put these statistical bits of information out there, maybe even do a video about it. It's just, you need to get this information out because this is what people want to know. And we're going to go over some of these statistics. We also encourage you to distribute this out via PDF. Maybe if you're door knocking today or tomorrow, by all means, you can print out the OCFaststats. Actually, if you have PDF editors, you can apply branding to the PDF, and now you can make it your own. Basically, you can promote the property stats of the area. There are two different market reports in the OCFaststats. You have a local market update report, which is a lovely one-page report. And then, of course, you have the monthly indicator report, which is a beautiful 15-page report about Orange County. And it breaks down all the individual statistics and shows you market trends, which is huge. We're going to go over that. And then, of course, digital and print versions. Put the reports on your website, social media, so on and so forth. In elevating our presence, agents can increase their credibility. You can position yourself as the market expert by including the stats in all of your marketing materials. Use empirical evidence that will complement your experience when you're with a client or a potential client. Basically, we give you the information. You can interpret it how you see fit if you want. Just one stat is all you need to know to make you the market expert. You don't have to focus on every stat, and not everybody in this webinar today will interpret the statistics the same way. Each and every one of you will see these stats, look at the market trends, and you'll probably determine for you how you want to market to the clients that you want to attract. So you don't have to become an expert in all of the stats, but at least focus on one major stat that you pretty much like and want to market to a potential client. By becoming the expert, you can answer most of the important questions or popular questions like, is there a buyer's or seller's market? One stat you may want to look at is the month supply of inventory. How do property types compare? Here we have the attached versus detached scenario. The reason why we have the attached versus detached scenario is that here in Orange County, you can have both a condo attached and a single family attached property. the price points on those properties are about the same, versus a condo detached property and a condo or a single family detached property. Typically, those property price points are about the same. It all bases itself on the land usage. So here in Orange County, there are condos that are both attached and detached, just like there are single-family attached and detached homes. It's all based on the land usage according to their APN records. Based on that, it would be harder to create a statistic comparing condos to single families because of the two differences of attached and detached. So we went with the attached versus detached scenario. And I'm sure most of you who have ever done a search in the MLS will probably notice that if you leave out condo or single family and just choose attached or detached, you will get a hodgepodge mix of single family and condo in that. But the prices are about the same. Let's see, are prices going up or down? That's going to be your median sales price statistic. How long will it take a seller to sell their house? Typically, that's the days on market that we want to look at. And of course, how much of my asking price as a seller will I be getting? That's going to be your percentage of the list price or percentage of original list price being received. And of course, the last one that I'm sure we've all been asked, when do I have the most options as a buyer? And that will be determined by the inventory. So I'm sure all of us have been asked a combination of these questions at some point in time. I'm sure most of us have all said, oh, I don't know, let me go and find that out for you and I'll give you a call back or I'll talk to you later. Now you can look at this information very quickly and easily to be able to give to a client. Managing expectations, really cool. Over here on the left, managing client expectations is with various different metrics like the days on market, the median price, percentage of original list price being received, and their inventory. We can also manage the client expectations by impressing the client at a listing appointment with the market realities. Again, something that goes along with the CMA. For those of you who don't know what CMA stands for, it stands for Comparative Market Analysis. So a lot of times this will help boost what we're seeing or finding in the MLS for the market update or that CMA. And of course, we can provide the necessary education to empower a client to make a data-driven decision, not so much an emotional decision. I'm sure we've all had those types of clients that are just purely data-driven, analytical, just show me the numbers type of client. Here, you just give them the numbers and they can now look at it and see. So how does this benefit you? It will enhance your negotiating power, not just with your client, but maybe even with the other agent on the other side of the transaction. You can connect with those analytical personalities because, again, the analytical personalities just want to see the numbers. And really, honestly, the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. They're going to back you. And of course, on the opposite spectrum, we can also guide the emotional decision makers. Now we just give them the numbers and just say, you know what? Here are the numbers. We can't get emotional about it. This is just what's actually happening. We've just got to work with it. And of course, ultimately, this benefits not just you, but your clients in reducing all of your anxiety. Your clients are very anxious already as it is for buying and selling properties, and that anxiety translates to you because I know how it is. You guys take on all of your clients' emotions, and you become just as emotionally invested in these properties, in this real estate business as they are. Now, if we can just show them the hard numbers, which reduces their anxiety, it will now benefit me in reducing my own personal anxiety. That will now reduce it for me. So this is how it benefits everybody. Okay? All right, I'm going to let you guys look at this real quick, and now I'm going to back this out. Anybody know the difference between a buyer's market, seller's market, or a balanced market? Or a lot of people have an idea of what those are. Just honestly, super quickly, a seller's market typically means that you have a low amount of supply, but a high amount of demand. And this means that now prices all of a sudden start to skyrocket, where there's not enough inventory to meet the demand of the buyers, and now the sellers can dictate the price, and the price usually skyrockets, shoots straight up. In the United States, taking the United States as a whole, a seller's market is less than 5 months of inventory. Here in Orange County, however, a seller's market is less than 3 months of inventory in the MLS. On the opposite is the buyer's market. A buyer's market is when you have more supply than the demand. Now all of a sudden prices tend to drop and drop heavily. This was pretty evident back in 2009, 2010 when we had over 12,000 listings on the MLS, and now all of a sudden prices tended to drop. Across the United States, this supply is over 6 months worth of inventory. So back to the buyer's market across the United States, inventory that makes a buyer's market is more than 6 months worth of inventory. Here in Orange County, it's more than 4. So anything more than 4 months worth of inventory is considered a buyer's market in Orange County, California. A balanced market means that you have enough supply that meets enough demand, whereby you have a steady increase in home sale prices, because as properties come on, they are going out in a timely fashion based on the demand that's taking this, or taking the inventory off. So across the United States, this is between a 5 to 6 month supply of inventory. Here in Orange County, it's between 3 and 4 months. With our stats, we're going to be able to look at month supply of inventory to determine very quickly if it's a seller's, buyer's, or a balanced market. Ideally, every agent likes a balanced market because you don't have the volatility of a seller's market where prices skyrocket and shoot straight up really quickly, or you don't have a quick plummet in a buyer's market, price drops in a buyer's market. You want a steady, slow increase. That's ideally what we all want. We want people to be able to afford the homes that we're actually listing. So this is where we want that balanced market. And of course, a balanced market means that we also have stability in the housing market. Let's see here. Show how you can also use these stats for you to market yourself. Comparing the local numbers to the regional numbers, like your CMA versus the area stats, or even the city stats, or even stacking it with the county stats. You can do that. Also, let's see here. You can dig deeper into your niche markets, like display and emphasize the stats that are your target market. Like if you have the analytical client or the seller that wants to know how fast it will take and how much money, then maybe you're looking at days on market and median sales price for your various different stats. If you're talking about a buyer needing to make better offers, look at the percentage of original list price being received so that they stop making lowball offers if they notice that, or if you happen to notice that in a stat that says that clients are getting about 98, 99% of what they're asking for, things like that. And of course, answer the emotional point of price forecasting. That's your trend is your friend scenario. OCFaststats will allow you to look at market trends going back at least 14 to 15 years. So you can see the ups and downs of the market. Let's see here. Your personal marketing, you versus the market averages. So how you stack up to everybody else. So maybe in your marketing, your listing presentation, hey, I have an average days on market of 20 days where Orange County's got 65 days or 75 days. Things like that. Be innovative with the stats. Talk about them, interpret them, how you like. So just be innovative with those numbers. This will also help you produce your own content because you're going to look at this information and you're going to develop marketing materials based around that information that you want to emphasize. The big one that you want to remember here is know your stuff because it will show. Guaranteed, if you hand out statistical information, someone's going to ask you about it, and if you don't know how to interpret it, that shoots your credibility in the foot right then and there. That's a big one. So if someone goes, hey, what's this number mean? And the first words out of your mouth is, that's not going to bode well for you. So definitely know your stuff, okay? At least be familiar, peruse them, read the stats. I'm going to leave my presentation here before we go into the branding, and let me dive into how to get into OCFaststats. So how we access OCFaststats, because this is an OCAR member benefit, we're simply just going to open up our web browser, and we're going to go to, and I'm going to highlight this here, www.ocar.org, or OCAR's website that you want to go to. Here you're going to be able to access all your member benefits. One of your member benefits is OCFaststats. What you want to do from here after you go to the website, you want to come over to where it says Services. When you hover your mouse over top of where it says Services, you're going to get a drop-down menu. Here at the drop-down menu, you're going to go over where it says Tools and scroll down to where it says OCFaststats and click. When you click on OCFaststats, the OCFaststats window opens up, whereby it tells you what OCFaststats is. To access OCFaststats, you're going to scroll down to where it says How to Access, and now you're going to click on where it says Login Here. When you click on Login Here, you're going to now input your username and password for OCAR's website. Your username for the OCAR website is your username for MLS, so it may begin with S, it may begin with OC, it may begin with H or the letter D, depending on how long you've been a member. Now your password is going to be unique to OCAR's website. If you've been a member that's joined in the past 5 years, your password will be a 4-digit PIN number. Typically the 4-digit PIN number for your key to access a lockbox. If you've been an agent around for longer than 6 years, then this may be alphanumeric, whereby you have a mixture of letters and numbers. Okay? So whatever you use to log into OCAR's website to pay your bills or register for a class, that's what you want to use. Once you input that information and you hit login, you're immediately downloaded into the local market update reports. Here we can look at for all of Orange County's single one-page report of statistics, or we can look at the cities, individual statistics. Now, before we dive into this, I had mentioned that there was a report called the Monthly Indicator Report. The Monthly Indicator Report is a beautiful 15-page report that breaks down, and I'm going to show you what the county report looks like. The county report here, detached, attached, number information. We'll go over all this here in a minute, but the Monthly Indicator Report takes all these individual statistics and breaks them down into their own individual pages, whereby you can see the market trend. If we come over here to the left-hand side and click on Market or Monthly Indicator, here we have all of Orange County. Now, currently, OCFaststats only looks at Orange County information. We can click on the county, or we can come over here to the left. We can look at the most recent, but if we click on the down arrow, we can look at the indicator reports for the prior months, going back about 2 years, or actually almost 3 years ago. By the way, it's updated usually the 10th of, or around the 10th of every month for the prior month. So the information that we're going to see today are the August numbers. Even though we're in the month of September, we're looking at August numbers information. Now, what's really cool about the OCFaststats is that this information is updated every month. Even past information on these indicator reports are usually updated. So what you pull today, if you come back into a month from now and you try to pull the same report, those numbers may change just a little bit, just so you know. Here, if I go with the most recent, which it would be August numbers, and I hit View the Report, now the 15-page monthly indicator report opens up. What I love about this, first and foremost, on page 1, August, what's happened in the nation when it comes to real estate. So right away, we get to see a national analysis of what's been happening in real estate in the nation. Down below, the local trend, what's been happening in Orange County. Now, most of us in this room want to know, or in this webinar want to know, are home prices going up or down? Well, if we look over here to the right, just on page 1 alone, we get to see the difference between, or a 1-year change on the median sales price of a detached property, or the 1-year difference of an attached property, and of course the 1-year difference of the median sales price of both attached and detached combined in Orange County. So right away on page 1, I can tell a client, did home prices go up or down from last year? Underneath these numbers here, table of contents breaking down detached market, attached market, the new listing stat, pending, closed, so on and so forth, and their corresponding pages. So here on page 1 of the 15-page report, we get a lot of information, or a lot of good information to talk about right away. Now, when we scroll down to page 2, starting with detached first. In the detached market, new listings, pending sales, closed sales, days on market, median, percentage, so on and so forth. We'll talk about these. We have all these various different stats. Over here to the right, we're looking at August of 2016, how many new listings came on the market at that time, compared to August 2017, so a month versus month from a year ago data. So in this case, in August of 2017 versus August of 2016, when you're looking at new listings coming on the market, it dropped by 6.5% compared to the year before. So this year, you had, or in 2016, 2324 brand new listings came on the market versus this year, 2172, a drop in 6.5%. Over here to the far right, the rolling year starting with September of 2015 and counting 12 months to August of 2016. And then again, September of 2016 to August 2017, those numbers and their percentage of increase or decrease. So what you can do here is look at your numbers. You can even combine these numbers to get a better sense of what your market's like. Now, by the way, we're looking at detached information. So when we're looking at new listings coming on, and maybe even looking at listings going off the market, like pending sales, we can go, well, you know what, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, last year we had more listings coming on the market compared to this year. But at the same token, there were a lot more listings that got into escrow compared to this year. Almost a 40% drop in listings getting into escrow. Well, let's find out why. Maybe we look at the median sales price. Now here you'll notice that there's a difference between a median sales price and an average. Anybody know the difference between the two? The difference between the two is that an average takes up the total number and then divides it by that number. So as an example, if there were 20 people in a room and you said, what's the average yearly income for everyone? You'd add up all of everybody's income and then you divide it by 20. Now, if Bill Gates happens to be one of those people out of that 20, now all of a sudden your average income may be over $1 billion. Whereas the median sales price does is it excludes out the extreme high and excludes out the extreme low and takes the exact middle or closest to it. So when it comes to looking at your prices, whether you're looking or shooting for median or average, chances are you always want to look at your median. This is the actual or near middle of what a home got sold for or was selling for, okay, compared to the extreme highs and the extreme low. So this is what we would look at. So in this case, maybe we look at a couple of these stats. New listings, not as many. Definitely not as many listings getting off the market. Chances are that's because the median sales price in 2016 of August was $750,000, but today, August of 2017, it increased by $795,000 for a detached property, an increase of 6%. So now, this would probably explain why people aren't getting to escrow or weren't as many escrows open, is because people may not have been able to afford that $795,000. But on a positive note for Mr. or Mrs. Seller, days on market, if they're listing a home, went from 65 days in August of 2016 down to 41 days, so a drop in 36.9% on days on market. So you can have a lot of interesting perspectives if, just looking at just these 3 or 4 numbers. Home prices definitely went up. Homes aren't listed as long as they were a year prior, but they're not getting in, or we're not getting as many escrows opened. Just like here, the escrows that were opened, they actually, closed more. So we can have a little fun with this. Coming down a little bit further, one other stat, or 2 other stats that may be helpful: the percentage of original price being received and percentage of list price being received. Now, the differences between the two: percentage of original price being received is how much the listing got, or how much the listing closed escrow for, how close or near to the original list price when it was originally listed in the MLS did it get versus the percentage of list price being received. How much did the listing close for? How much of that close price is closest to the listing at the time that it was listed in the MLS? So maybe it went through a price change, then you got into escrow, and you closed escrow. At the time that you closed escrow, how much did you come close to at the time that listing was listed at? We can see that the percentage of original list price being received is up to 97.4%. The list price being received after a price change or two, clients are getting 98.8% of what they actually are getting listed, or what they're being listed at. So in a way, what we could do with this is tell a seller, well, if I list your home a little bit high, you're probably going to go through a price drop or two before you get almost 99 to 100% of what you're asking for in Orange County. Now, on the opposite spectrum here, dealing with a buyer, anybody here have a buyer that just loves to lowball their offers? And you've told them, hey, and they're super frustrated about why doesn't anybody counteroffer them or even consider their offer, and you keep telling them, I don't think that you're making the right price. Well, show them. Say, hey, here in Orange County, clients or sellers are getting 98.8% of what they're asking for. So if you're making a $100,000 less offer than the average agent, this is why you're not being considered on the table as being a serious buyer. You have to up your offer to get clients or get sellers to actually consider your offer to get you into escrow. So use that tool for your buyers and sellers. Let's see here. Inventory. Here's a big one. Inventory last year of 6146, so 6,146 properties were on the MLS at the time for sale. This year, only 5,191 properties, so a drop of 15.5% in inventory. Okay, so low inventory typically means what? Not as much or not as many choices for a buyer to pick from. So what ultimately happens, this will affect your month's supply of inventory. Here we see that in August of 2016, 3.9 months supply of inventory versus 3.3, a drop in 15% of month supply of inventory. Pretty evident there. So what is month supply of inventory? Month supply of inventory is figured in as, I do believe, it's the number of pending sales divided into inventory or divided by inventory to give you this 3.3. What this ultimately means, or this statistic ultimately means, is that if there was no new listings being added into the MLS today, how many listings are getting to escrow? How fast would you burn through the existing inventory? So, pending sales divided by inventory should give you month supply. So, how many listings are going off the market? If there was no new listings being added to the market today, how fast you would eat through the existing inventory right now. That's how you figure out your month supply. Now, if we remember my little slide earlier, does this mean that we're in a buyer's or seller's market right now? Well, if we look here, we're between that 3 and 4 month time frame, so it looks like we're kind of in a balanced market. More so, last year we were headed towards a buyer's market, but now we're headed towards a seller's market. So it's still considered balanced, but leans a little bit more towards the seller versus the buyer end. The last thing that we'll go over on this page here is the chart or the bar graph here in the middle. What I love about this is that it looks at the statistics and it now gives you a 3-year, or I'm sorry, in this case 4-year market trend. So now we can see the ups and downs of the market. So starting with August, July, June, May, April, March, February, January, December, right? So now we can see the ups and downs of the market here. So this kind of gives us a nice little preview going back 4 years of all of our different statistics. Here we see the median sales price has just been on a steady increase for the past 4 years. Here, the new listings what's come on, what's gone off the market, the ups and downs, and if we're tracing it back, we can pretty much tie it to our yearly trend of fall, spring, or fall, winter, spring, summer markets, right? We usually in the middle part of the year have more inventory because more people will tend to move and sell or list properties in the middle of the year because it's summer, kids are out of school, people want to move, versus the holiday winter months where inventory starts to fall off. People get into school, they don't want to move, they don't want to take their kids out of the existing schools. Winter, you've got the holiday season, and then you start to ramp up the next year. So here you can see all that. And by the way, this was just page 2. Are there any questions on any of these stats so far? Okay, attached, page 3. I'm not going to bore you with the same stats for the attached, but you kind of get the gist of that. Come down below, page 4. Here we go. We got new listings. We're going to break down our stats. Here, starting with the new listings, we've got the attached, detached in different colors, showing their market trends going back 3 years. Here we've got the rolling years going back 3 years for both stats. Over here to the top, we actually get to see a breakdown of each and every month, what those actual numbers were compared to their percentages of what their differences were compared to the year prior. Okay, so if we go here, September was down 1.8%, with new listings coming on at 1987 versus today of 2017, 2172 compared to the year prior, so on and so forth. Okay, and again, we got the detached and attached. What I love to show here, if I scroll down just a bit further, is this beautiful chart here. This chart, basically, attached, detached, gives you a market trend. You actually get to see new listings going back 14 years, the ups and downs of your market. So what you've got going here is that now you can show a seller or a buyer when's a good time to list, when's a good time to buy, maybe, looking at these market trends. So here in the new listings, between each line of the year to year, January to December, so on and so forth. So now we see the ups and downs of our market. So here we show that in December, January, very low market. Then as the year goes up, inventory starts to go up. Usually about mid-year is when you hit the peak, and then it starts to slowly decline as the year ends. 2017, super low, new listings coming on the market. Then it shot up really early on this year, and now it's been progressively gone down because we're closing out the year. So now in the new listings area, this chart here will allow you to look at your market trend. Now, what I love about this is that if you have a PDF editor, you can go through these 15 pages with the PDF editor and take out what you don't like, or take out or compare side by side certain statistics. 2 things that I like here. We were talking about median sales price, right? Does anybody feel that we are back to where we were? Like, has the market recovered? Do you think that we might be at the peak of our sales price, or our median sales price? Anybody? Because if you have a client that goes, well, I bought in 2007 and I know that we had the market crash, but I'm just not sure if we've actually really recovered, let's show them. And maybe even I'm going to come down to median sales price. Looking at this chart, and let's see if I can zoom in on this chart a little bit. There we go. We notice here, going back 14 years, what our median sales price was, right? We see where we're at today. Almost $800,000 at our median sales price right now. Now, I know a lot of people get a little scared about this, right? But let's jump back to 2013, or 2003. In 2003, focusing on detached properties here, a detached median sales price was just a little over $400,000. Then, as the years progressed, about 2006 or 7, we hit that $750,000 mark, right, for the median sales price. Then all of a sudden, what happened, everybody? Bubble popped, right? We had the market crash, we had everything crash, and all of a sudden prices fell. Now, I don't know about you guys, But I've heard a lot of experts say that have said 2012 was the bottom end of the market. I can tell you, according to our MLS data, it was actually 2009. If you notice here that the prices bottomed out in 2009, but the bottom price, if we look here and draw a straight line across, did not fall as far down below what the median sales price was from 2003. So the 6 years, we went almost back down. So even if a client had bought their property in 2003, they still had a little extra equity. Not as much as they did in 2007, but they still had a little bit of equity. So what does that say about properties right there? Selling point is, no matter what you buy in your home is always going to appreciate. Short of your home being fully wiped out, which hopefully that will never ever happen, but even with a downtrend in the market, typically the downtrend never dips below what its previous downturn was. Now, here we go to 2010, we start to see the increases in prices. 2012, then one day in 2013 is when home prices shot straight up. And then, of course, look at where we're at today. We're now back almost at $800,000 above the last peak in 2007. So 10 years later, we have surpassed our 10-year mark for being the highest in detached median sales prices. Now, we're going to show a direct correlation here, because I know a lot of people go, oh, does this mean that we're going to go through another bubble pop? Maybe not necessarily, because if I scroll down here, if I have my PDF editor out and I want to compare side-by-side statistics to give something to talk about on my website, I'm going to use this median sales price as one, but now I'm going to show a direct correlation with inventory. If we look here at the inventory stat, and we go back 14 years, this says something vastly different. We'll notice here where we're at today compared to where we were back at in 2003. 2003, we had just over 4,000 properties. Those 4,000 properties, median sales price was $400,000, right? Or a little bit above. Then by 2007 or 2008, we had over 12,000 properties on the market. That's when our bubble pop happened, right? We had this huge amount of inventory for 2 years, practically, that bottomed out in 2009, where we were here over 8,000 properties in the MLS. So at $750,000, we had 12,000 listings on the market. Now look at where we're at today. Here we have less than 6,000 properties on the market. So our inventory is half or more than half of what it was in 2007. But our median sales price is way above what it was in 2007. So in a way, I do believe personally, if we were to interpret this, that it's our inventory lack of that has inflated those prices. Now, if one day every seller started to list their home like they did back in 2007, then I might get a little worried that we might go through another bubble pop. But until that happens, I think you guys can safely tell sellers and other clients that because of the low inventory is the justification why we have such high prices right now. This is 15 whole pages. Now, I know most of us want something that's quick, down, and dirty, right? Let's go back here. This is where the local market update report is going to come in, or the local market updates. When I click on the local market update, here we go. We can now look at all of Orange County or the individual cities within Orange County. And of course, the cool thing that I'm going to show you is the actual individual areas. So looking at Orange County super quickly, here's a nice, beautiful one-page report, taking that 15-page report and condensing it down into one page. All the stats for detached, all the stats for attached are on one page, and now we've got the median sales price market trend going back 5 years for attached and detached, or the rolling months for detached and attached. Now this is looking at Orange County. If we come down below, we can now choose an individual city. Maybe when I select a city, and I'm going to choose, I don't know, Irvine. When I select Irvine, now I get to see all in yellow, all the individual areas per the MLS that we can look at statistical information for. To look at the city statistic, I'm going to come over here to the top right and click on the full city report. When I click on the full city report, I now get to see the actual individual stats for this actual city. If I pop back over here to Orange County, we see here that Orange County median sales price for all the properties in Orange County, $795. Days on market, 41, right? And of course, inventory, 2172. New inventory coming on the market. Here in Irvine, 173 of these new properties are in Irvine out of that 2172. So Irvine makes 173 listings up of that entire Orange County inventory. But days on market, people are taking a few extra days compared to the rest of Orange County. But here we go, the median sales price of Irvine compared to last year, and let me zoom in, $965 up to $1,050,000 on the median sales price. So what I can do in my CMA, I typically compare the house to other homes exactly like this in the immediate neighborhood. Now what I can do with these stats is say how this home may compare to the rest of the county. So if the home is in Irvine, I can say, well, this home in Irvine in Orange County versus the neighborhood, you live in a more expensive area of Irvine compared to the rest of Orange County because Orange County's median sales price is $795, but here in Irvine itself, the median sales prices are over $1 million. So you're going to actually have more, you live in a more expensive area, but because you live in a more expensive area, your days on the market are going to be a little bit longer. Your competition is 170 other properties coming on the market right now. But clients are getting about 98% of what they're finally asking for after they've dropped their price about 4% from the original list price. So now we can utilize these stats. Besides Irvine, maybe they live in, I don't know, Turtle Rock. If we click on Turtle Rock, we now see the actual individual stats of Turtle Rock. So here in Turtle Rock, if your home is in Turtle Rock, you live in a more expensive area of Irvine with the median sales price of $1.7 million versus the rest of Irvine at $1 million. So if I'm moving into Irvine, will I be tempted to live in Turtle Rock? Probably not. Home prices are more expensive there than versus the rest of Irvine. Maybe I'll look outside of Turtle Rock instead, right? So you can actually have fun with these individual stats. And by the way, just picking Irvine, just a few, we can even look at Mission Viejo. We can even look at Long Beach. Here are all the various different areas of Long Beach. Long Beach, median sales price is $639, up from $548. Still a cheaper city to live in if you're buying a single-family detached property, but prices have gone up quite significantly compared to last year. And of course, you got your individual areas. Are there any questions on this? Let me show you how to brand your stats. Now, there are tons of ways of branding your statistics. You want to brand it with your own branding to be able to give this out to a client, maybe at an open house or a door knocking material or post it on your website. And we've given you enough area up here to actually apply your branding. Now, there are tons of software packages out there that will allow you to brand a PDF. Some expensive, some not so expensive. Some of the expensive tools will probably be Adobe Standard. Adobe Standard is about $450 a year. It is a PDF editor or has them built into its programs, whereby you can now manipulate the PDF. If you have Office 365, Word, Excel, PowerPoint from Microsoft, Word does have a very basic PDF editor that will allow you to insert your picture branding directly on to the PDF document. If you're like me and you don't have a lot of money to spend, but you do have access to Office products like Word or Excel or PowerPoint, today what we're going to do is we're going to brand this PDF document in PowerPoint. But the way we need to do that is that we need to convert the PDF document into a picture file. This is going to be very easily done. I'm going to show you how to do that today using a third-party website. So, as an example, I want the stats for Irvine. I want to brand this because I'm marketing Irvine tomorrow, and I'm going to go to several neighborhoods, several locations, several areas, and I want this as part of my talking material. Okay? I'm going to need to convert this first and foremost. So the first thing I need to do is I need to save this document as a PDF. How I do that, I hover over top of the PDF document, I hit download, and now I download this PDF file onto my computer. Once I do that, now I'm just going to go right into the web, and I'm going to go to a file conversion website. Now, there are tons of them out there, and again, there are other tons of applications, some costly and others not so costly. But today, I'd like to show you something that's free, and it's called Zamzar. Zamzar.com, www.zamzar.com. This is a file conversion website. A file conversion website means that I can take a file that's set in a certain format and convert it into a different formatted file that maybe I can now view, edit, or do what I need. When I go to Zamzar.com, which is a file conversion website, I'm now going to follow these easy 4 steps. Step 1, I'm going to choose the file off my computer that I want converted. In this case, I'm going to choose that Irvine PDF document. Step 2, I need to choose what I'm going to convert this document into. Because I want to use PowerPoint or Keynote to convert or to modify this file, I'm going to convert it into a picture file, .jpg. Now I'm going to type in the email address that I want this file emailed to. And now I'm going to hit step 4, convert. 1, 2, 3, file is now completed. So now I'm just going to open up my email. There, from Zamzar, your file has been converted. This happened in less than 30 seconds. When I open up the file, instead come down below, and it basically says here, for you to be able to just download the file, click on the link below for free. From here, when I click on the file, I'm now going to ignore the .zip file, but choose the .jpg file. When I choose download now on the .jpg, I've now downloaded the file to my computer. So now what I need to do? Well, I'm now going to open up my PowerPoint document. I'm now going to create a new blank presentation. Now from here, PowerPoint, even though it's a listing presentation software, I can insert photos or picture files on this file. So what I do in PowerPoint, I'm now going to come over to the top. I'm going to choose Insert. From here, I'm now going to insert a picture. Now I'm going to browse my computer for that photo, in this case the Irvine JPEG file. When I choose that file and I say Insert, the picture has now been inserted on my PowerPoint document. Because PowerPoint puts a sheet of paper horizontal, not vertical, I now need to turn this file over and lay it down on its side. How I do that? Scroll out a little bit so you can see the little green bobble, which is the rotating icon. I can now grab it, rotate it, and now with the 4 little dots selected, I can now grab one of the dots and expand it out on this sheet of paper. Just like so. Now to add my branding on it, very simply, I have a picture of my brand, or at least my own photo. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm now going to insert another picture, find a picture of myself, insert it. Now I can resize it, move it, rotate it, on this document. Oh, I need to add in information about myself. Well, if my banner was a picture, I can insert my banner. Or, you know what? I'm going to insert a text box. I'm going to draw up my text box. Now I'm going to type in my information. Anthony Breed, Tony at ocar.org, 949-586-6800, extension 104, J&J, RE, license, so on and so forth. Now again, I can rotate it, whoop, grab it, move it, place it wherever I need to go. This is how easy you can brand the OCFaststats. Now, by the way, resize this information. I can edit the text message or the text that I need it to be. And now I can print it off on my printer. I can even select the picture, and with the cropping features in PowerPoint, take out the information I don't want to present and add in other things. So maybe I do, I just mark it detached properties, but in Irvine. But now if I convert other JPEG files or other PDF files in that area, like maybe the county and area like Turtle Rock, I'll convert those into pictures, crop out the information I don't want, and then paste in or insert in the pictures I do. So now I can have side-by-side information. Now, anybody here host open houses and don't have a double-sided flyer but a one-sided flyer? Well, take that flyer, maybe that you created in Cloud CMA, save the PDF document on your computer, use Zamzar to convert that PDF document into a JPEG file, and now, here in PowerPoint, add a new slide and insert the flyer here. Now when we go to print, we print double-sided so that one side's got the OCFaststats with my branding, the other side has the house flyer. Now at an open house, I'm giving not just information about this house, but I'm giving it more information about the neighborhood or about the other statistics. Are there any questions on this? Here's my information again. Please feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email if you have any questions or if you'd like a copy of today's presentation. Today's presentation also does go over how to brand using Zamzar and PowerPoint or Keynote. I hope you guys have a great and wonderful day. Happy Thursday, everybody, and I will hopefully talk to everyone very, very soon.